Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada. No one can stop this Sankirtan movement. No one can stop it. Jai. Because the books are out there. Yeah. Can't be stopped. And take advantage of the pure devotees, association of the pure devotees, through their literature. Can't be stopped. Oh, Jai Srila Prabhupada. So, today's the 12th of November, 2013, and tomorrow, the 13th of November, 2013, is the disappearance day of Gaura-kisora Babaji. And this pure devotee, in line of Lord Chaitanya, and spiritual master of Bhakti Siddhanta, and disciple of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So, and a very, very colorful Vaishnava. He's a very colorful Vaishnava. Unusual pastimes and activities. And so we'll start to read about him today. And there's a very, it looks like pretty detailed account of Gaura-kisora Babaji Maharaja, compiled and written by Karanamrta Prabhu. And that's available in the Nittai database. I'll put the link in the description below. So we're going to start. Title of it is, okay, there's a lot going on in this account here. It says, Two Beyond Duality. A biography of His Divine Grace, Srila Gaura-kisora Babaji Maharaj, and His Divine Grace, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji, by Karanamrta Das Adhikari. Okay, introduction. The descriptions of the exploits of Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Shri Shrimad Gaura-kisora Babaji Maharaj are certain to bewilder materialistic persons, for one who is under the sway of worldly desires cannot enter into the mysteries of the deeds and thoughts of a person fully immersed in spiritual consciousness. It's a quote from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Quote, even a most learned scholar cannot understand the activities and symptoms of an exalted personality in whose heart love of Godhead has awakened. There are two kinds of realized devotees of Lord Krishna, the Bhajananandis and the Goshthianandis. The liberated preachers, or Goshthianandis, step down from the highest transcendence and behave in a way which is intelligible to ordinary conditioned jivas, with a view to inspiring them to take up devotion to Krishna. The liberated Bhajananandis, on the other hand, generally do not step down to the platform of Madhyamadikari, the preacher of moderate spiritual advancement. Remaining immersed in their service to Krishna on the platform of spontaneous devotion, they take note of the illusory material world and those who inhabit it only occasionally, and then in a most perfunctory way. This is not due to a lack of compassion on their part, but rather is determined by the inspiration they receive from the Godhead and an intensity of humbleness It convinces them they're too lacking in devotion to school others in the holy life. Moreover, the Bhajana Nandi's thoughts are not always transformed by them into a materially intelligible expression. Thus their words and activities may at times seem inscrutable or otherworldly. Some devotees are instrumentally utilized by the Lord in the work of propagating the science of devotion, and others are inspired by the Lord and his pure devotees to lead lives of seclusion and intense renunciation. It might be said that Srila Gaura-kisora Babaji, who was a genuine Bhajana Nandi, did little preaching, yet his influence was felt by the greatest preacher of the day, and that preacher gave him credit as his inspiration. Therefore, although it is a fact that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Saraswati Thakur, and Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada all emphasized widely preaching Krishna consciousness for the benefit of all, we should not commit the blunder of imagining that a devotee like Gaura-kisora Babaji was less advanced than they. Very few devotees in this age are qualified to perform Nirjan Bhajana, solitary worship, in the manner of Haridas Thakur, Raghunath Das Goswami, Lokanath Goswami, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, or Gaura-kisora Babaji. In fact, those who attempt it generally end up meditating on sex life and performing illicit activities in secret. Such efforts are often motivated by a desire to achieve name and fame as a Vaishnava. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has written about this, and Srila Prabhupada has also commented. One reference is made here for those who are very anxious to imitate the behavior of Thakur Haridas in an unnatural way. One must receive the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or his representative before adopting such a way of life. The duty of a pure devotee or a servant of the Lord is to carry out the order of the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Nityananda Prabhu to go to Bengal and preach. He asked the Goswamis, Rupa and Sanatan, to go to Vrindavan and excavate the lost places of pilgrimage. In this case, the Lord asked Haridas to remain there at Jagannath Puri and constantly chant the holy names of the Lord. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave different persons different orders, and consequently, one should not try to imitate the behavior of Haridas Thakur without being ordered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or his representative. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur condemns such imitation in this way. My dear mind, you're trying to imitate Haridas Thakur and chant the Hare Krishna mantra in a secluded place. But you are not worth being called a Vaishnava because what you want is cheap popularity, not the actual qualification of Haridas Thakur. If you try to imitate him, you will fall down, for your neophyte position will cause you to think of women and money. Thus you will fall into the clutches of Maya, and your so-called chanting in a secluded place will bring about your downfall. That's from Chaitanya Charitamrita. In his preaching, Srila Gaura-kisora Babaji always spoke out against those who were cheating in the name of reclusive chanting. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, upon the order and approval of his gurus, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Gaura-kisora Babaji Maharaja, spent some years performing such secluded bhajan, following a vow similar to that of Srila Haridas Thakur. Yet he did not recommend it for his followers. In fact, he took sannyas, situated himself within the Varnashram corpus, so as to offer special respect to such Paramahamsas as Shri Rupa Goswami and Rupanuga Goswamis, including his father and guru, to demonstrate how exalted and rare such perfect devotion and purity are, and how high the qualifications are for those who want to follow in the footsteps of liberated souls. One should, at any rate, not misunderstand the position of a genuine devotee like Srila Gaura-kisora Babaji, who was actually a liberated Paramahamsa Babaji. According to the material view, he made his appearance in the world in an ordinary Vaishya merchant class family and was not well educated, being practically illiterate. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has described his spiritual master in his song, Shri Guru Parampara Mahabhagavata Para Ari Gaura-kisora Bara Hari Bhajanete Jaramoda. The eminent Mahabhagavat Shri Gaura-kisora Das Babaji, whose sole joy was found in Hari Bhajan. Srila Prabhupada described him in a letter to Rai Ram Das, dated December 14, 1967. To think of becoming a fool is the real qualification of a bona fide disciple. As soon as one thinks he's become wiser man than the spiritual master, one is surely doomed. We should remain everlastingly a fool before the spiritual master, not artificially, but feelingly, and then we can make real progress. Even my spiritual master, a great scholar, remained a so-called fool before his spiritual master, who was outwardly an illiterate village fellow. So, in the absolute world, the fool is also the master, and the master is also a fool in reciprocal dealings. Lord Chaitanya also accepted himself a great fool before his spiritual master, and all of us must follow the transcendental process. In his manifest pastimes, Srila Gaura-kisora Das Babaji Maharaja exhibited a relentless, acute detachment and indifference to the material world. On the other hand, when he took occasion to extol the unlimited glories of the holy name and point out the varieties of cheating and hypocrisy of so-called renunciates, as well as to reveal the inherent uselessness of endeavors for material happiness, his preaching was always effective and penetrating for his sincere hearers. Although outwardly almost illiterate and seemingly blind, scholars would approach him for the proper siddhanta of difficult philosophical issues, and they always received perfect explanations. Srila Gaura-kisora Das Babaji Maharaj was delighted to sit and hear the discourse of Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur at Sarabi Kunj, Navadvip. He respected Thakur Bhaktivinoda as a Shiksha Guru. This was his sincere feeling, as well as a proper observance of etiquette, for he took Babaji initiation from Srila Jagannath Das Babaji's disciple, Srila Bhagavat Das Babaji Maharaj, which made Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur the godbrother of Srila Gaura-kisora Das Babaji Maharaj, Diksha Guru. Nevertheless, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur considered Srila Gaura-kisora Das Babaji Maharaj his dear friend, and he took Babaji initiation from him in 1908. It was Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur who directed Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to the lotus feet of Srila Gaura-kisora Das Babaji. In the history which follows, it may not always be perfectly clear why Srila Gaura-kisora Das Babaji acted as he did, but we can at least be certain that he acted according to the dictation of Krishna for the benefit of the world. By hearing about his unrelenting intolerance of all forms of hypocrisy and deception, and his tremendous austerity and devotion, we may hope to gain determination to practice Krishna consciousness with purity and to give up all forms of deceit and duplicity. Crookedness, hypocrisy, and deceit are anarthas, which are obstructive contaminations of the heart, and are represented by the demonic wizard Bakasura, who was killed by Krishna. This is described in the Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The Thakur also states that without the destruction of deceit and crookedness, pure devotion to Krishna cannot arise. Therefore, we should pray that by recounting the glorious activities of Srila Gaura-kisora Das Babaji Maharaj, the eternal associate of the Lord, the personification of renunciation, who constantly exhibited powerful, ecstatic feelings of separation from Krishna, and the cutter of the pretenders and hypocrites with the acts of his unstinting mercy, that he will be pleased to bless us with a particle of his mercy. Being thus blessed with his divine grace, we can easily surmount the illusory web of crookedness and deceit, and gain entrance to the kingdom of God. One can attain the path of liberation from material bondage only by rendering service to highly advanced spiritual personalities. These personalities are impersonalists and devotees. Whether one wants to merge into the Lord's existence or wants to associate with the personality of Godhead, one should render service to the Mahatmas. For those who are not interested in such activities, who associate with people fond of women and sex, the path to hell is wide open. The Mahatmas are equipoised. They do not see any difference between one living being and another. They're always very peaceful and fully engaged in devotional service. They're devoid of anger, and they work for the benefit of everyone. They do not behave in any abominable way. Such people are known as Mahatmas. That's from the Bhagavatam. The following accounts are taken from articles which first appeared in the Sajjana Toshini magazine, the magazine originally published under the auspices of Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur and continued by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The articles first appeared in 1917, shortly after the disappearance pastime of Srila Gaura-kisora Babaji Maharaja, and bore the title Amar Prabhu Katha, which in English means Tales of My Spiritual Master. These articles were written by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and the original articles may be found in the Devananda Gaudiya Math in Navadvip, West Bengal, and its branch in Mathura, Uttar Pradesh. The Chaitanya Math later compiled these articles into a single small book, upon which much of this volume is based. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur instructs us therein how bewildered souls, pregnant with arrogance, intoxicated with desires for sense gratification, approach the spiritual master pretentiously. The neophyte devotees are always in a precarious situation. Due to lack of proper knowledge and sufficient faith, their tendency is to imitate exalted Vaishnavas. Such imitation, however, causes one to become degraded. One should not imitate the behavior of an advanced devotee or a Mahabhagavat without being self-realized, for by such imitation one will eventually become degraded. And that's from the Nectar of Instruction. One must study Srila Gaura-kisora Babaji Maharaja instructions in order to escape the jaws of false renunciation and offensive imitation. In his introduction to these articles, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wrote, I have been busy within this material world trying to bring sense gratification within the grasp of my hand. I have often thought that by obtaining the objects of sense gratification, all my shortcomings will be fulfilled. I often attained different facets that were very rare indeed, but my own personal shortcomings were never mitigated. In this material world, I have had the association of very aristocratic persons. However, seeing their various deficiencies, I could not offer them praise. The most merciful Supreme Lord, Shri Gaura-sundar, seeing me in such a lamentable condition at a time of adversity, gave permission to his two dearmost devotees, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Gaura-kisora Babaji, to grant their blessings to me. Because I was always intoxicated with a worldly false ego, wanting to be repeatedly praised, I deprived myself of my own real benefit. But because of the influence of my previous birth's activities in devotional service, I came into the association of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was the form of my spiritual well-wisher. My spiritual master, Srila Gaura-kisora Babaji, would go and visit Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and many times would reside with him. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, out of his compassion for other living entities, pointed out my spiritual master, Srila Gaura-kisora Babaji. Upon seeing my spiritual master, the extent of my worldly false ego diminished. I knew that all the other living entities who have taken the human form of life were also fallen and low like myself, but by gradually observing the spiritual character of my master, I realized that only a Vaishnava could reside in this material world and be of exemplary character. The two main sources of information for the life sketch of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj were Gaur Parshada Karitavali and Gaudiya Vaishnava Jivana, two compilations of biographies of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. Additional biographical information has been found in the autobiography of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Svalakita Jivani and other biographical works about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Srila Jagannath Das Babaji was the pure link in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya between the late 18th and early 20th centuries. He carried and preserved the pure message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu intact, and he was the instructor of Thakur Bhaktivinoda, who inaugurated the preaching of Krishna consciousness throughout India and out to the Western world as well. He also initiated Bhagavat Das Babaji, the Vaishya Guru of Gaura-kisora Das Babaji, instructed Srila Gaura-kisora Das Babaji, the spiritual master of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and instructed Srila Saraswati Thakur himself. According to some accounts, there were occasions at Sarabi Kunj, Thakur Bhaktivinoda's place of bhajan at Godrum Dweep in Sri Navadweep town, when 3 or 4 generations of pure Vaishnavas, including Srila Jagannath Das Babaji, Thakur Bhaktivinoda, Gaura-kisora Das Babaji, Srila Saraswati Thakur, met together for Sankirtan and Krishna Katha. Some of these meetings and personalities were fictionalized in Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's transcendental novel Jaiva Dharma. The Sankirtan performed by these spiritual colossi was the source of tremendous auspiciousness for the world. Their transcendental gatherings were reminiscent of the meetings of the 6 Goswamis and their followers at Radha Damodar Temple in Vrindavan. All of the above-mentioned personalities were pure, eternally liberated souls who had descended from Goloka for the benefit of the world, to inaugurate a renaissance of bhakti and the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj's special contribution to this sublime resurgence of devotion to Krishna was his role, in concert with Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of discovering and authenticating the precise location of the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Dr. Bhaktivinoda refers to him as Vaishnav Sarvabhauma, the commander-in-chief of the Vaishnavas. From all reports, he lived to be somewhere between 130 to 150 years old, and he is listed in Gaudiya Vaishnava succession, Parampara, as a contemporary of Baladev Vijayabhusan, although his Babaji Vaishya was, by the point of Diksha, the disciple of Srila Baladev Vijayabhusan. Be that as it may, he was the most prominent acharya after Baladev Vijayabhusan, and, being his spiritual equal, he thus counted at his co-acharya. He was a perfectly self-realized soul, and he was the beloved leader of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas during the time of Thakur Bhaktivinoda, who accepted him as his Shiksha Guru. And that is the introduction